Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back for some more EVE Online. Welcome also to Rens, one of the two trade hubs in Minmatar space that I would say are trying to develop even more. We have seen in the economic numbers for October that both Rens and Hek are growing, albeit quite slowly. And since I've been doing some exploration pretty close to Rens in the metropolis region and I've been somewhat successful there, I'm actually here now to try and sell some of my stuff, and then I of course also stock up on stuff that I can use, so some fittings, but especially munitions, drones if I lose them. This is basically at the moment how I'm playing the game. I'm exploring different areas of space, and then when I get some loot I go back to the closest trade hub, try to do my sales, get everything back up and running so that I can keep going, and then I go back out there somewhere else to try and discover cool stuff in space. I'm enjoying it. I do want to change what I have in the ship maintenance base, so I'm mostly using the Testudo Gila here because it's so strong that it can basically handle any site. But I'm not sure about the Ishtar. We will see. We'll see how that evolves. For now though, this is what I'm running with, and in today's video I actually want to take a look at the Rens trade hub. So I actually just jump cloned in from Jita and I noted down some of the prices of the raw materials there. And I kind of want to get a feel of this trade hub compared to Jita especially, but perhaps also Amar, where I've actually done a couple videos on the market there. So first thing that we should notice is the number of players in local, 116 at the moment, so 100, 120, something like that. Definitely another step down from Amar, and a lot smaller than Jita, of course. Jita, I would say 1800 people pretty consistently. Amar was growing to the 400 to 500 range, I would say. On a busy evening, and to see 100 people here does mean that things will move a lot more slowly. It's a smaller trade hub, we have to accept that, but yeah, the numbers look positive in the sense that this trade hub has been growing at least in the month of October, as far as I know. So let's try to jump in here. Let's get on that market tab. Let's close all of these. Perhaps I'll make it like a little bit bigger, and let's see if we can look at especially the minerals. I'm really curious. Honestly, I've been very surprised. At least the regions that I've explored so far have been decently busy. To me, it didn't feel like this was so much lower in player density than, let's say, a Mars space. So I think that there's a decent amount of mineral extraction happening, of mining happening in Minmatar space at the moment. So first of all, let's take a quick look at the price of titanium. It's going for 7 ISK here, volume-wise. Look at that, 26 million, 30 million, 50 million, another 83 million, several more here, quite a bit. This feels like a decently well-stocked market, and in Jita, prices are already down to 653. The chart looks a little bit different, I'm going to say. While, of course, the general trend is the same. We went up to 8 ISK. Actually, in Jita, I think it was like 9.5. When it comes to this downward spiral, or this downward move, I should say, and I'm really gonna have to give you guys like the 1 year chart, I think that's better. This downtrend in the last month or so definitely feels like there's more hesitation in this market, or it's less steady. Look at this, we get a whole period here where we managed to hold on to a price of around 7 ISK, and at the moment sellers are still trying to hold on to that price as well. So slightly more expensive titanium compared to Jita. Now people may already be taking advantage of that. Look at this massive volume spike just 5 days ago. Interesting, definitely a somewhat of an anomaly that may have just crashed the price back down, putting us back in a slightly more similar range on average, at least, right? 6.3, 6.5 for the sellers in Jita. Feels like we are in line with perhaps a slightly more expensive Rens market at the moment that's catching up. After that, we have a pyrite that is continuing to climb, just like it did in Jita, of course, since the latest redistribution. That one has overtaken titanium. That's pretty similar, right? Here, 7.5. A-Disk starts at 5, and pyrite actually starts at 5 as well. 7.5 down to 5 ISK here again, and now up to 17.5. In Jita 4.4, pyrite is selling for 17.10 ISK. Here, someone is selling at 16, but then it's 17.50 and 21 for a lot of the others. I'll take a quick look around here. 20 ISK does seem to be quite prevailing. except for this one order here of 48 million units at 17.5. But price-wise, again, another edge for Rens compared to Jita, for instance. Here you're definitely getting more ISK for your pyrite than you are in Jita. One thing to note, of course, buyers are quite a bit more skittish and rare. Not that many buy orders. First one at 13 ISK, and that's it. So while you could get better ISK for your pyrite, you are probably going to have to wait a little bit longer to actually sell it as well. Let's take a quick look at Mexilon next, substantially above 100 ISK. That seems similar as the Mexilon price in Jita that is currently selling for 120 ISK. We again have these big volume spikes though. Let's see if I can see that in pyrite again as well. Look at that. Every week to every other week or so we do get a massive volume spike in these mineral trades. That is very interesting. Perhaps from time to time big players come here to try and make big bulk purchases of stuff that becomes available for a cheaper price. I'm not sure what the hell, it sounded like something was happening outside, but it's quite okay. So let's take a look at the selling price for Mexilon, 120 as well. This is pretty much in line with the price in Jita as well. Availability, it actually, that's a little bit of a surprise, right? Availability, and especially the buyers here, seems to be more of them with Mexilon than there are even of pyrite, while pyrite is a more common mineral, you could say, than Mexilon by quite a bit. Let's take a quick look at the Isogen chart. It spiked up to 70 ISK. I think that's slightly higher than what we saw in Jita as well. Is currently landing on 50 ISK. And we're selling for 52, 55 and going up to 70 ISK pretty quickly. Again, look at that. Number of buyers is a lot lower, but a better price than in Jita, because there we are selling at 45 ISK at the moment. So this downtrend, this correction here is stalling at 50 in the Rens market. In Jita, we're going down even further to the 45 ISK range. Anything else left here that could be of interest? Well, Noxium, of course. I think that could be very interesting as well. Hovering at the 1250 for the 5-day moving average. That's actually quite expensive. Now, a couple more sellers are coming in here, driving most prices down to the 1200 range. And in Jita, that's the exact same thing. So here again, while from time to time, it does look like you have better prices, and you again have some of these strange volume spikes that happen from time to time. This one, of course, is tied with an announcement that drove the price up from 750 to 1250. But I would still give price-wise, with a little bit of patience, perhaps for smaller miners, a slight edge to the Rens market here as well. Then we've got the Zydrine market that's going for 1500 ISK on the chart. Sellers are coming in at 1550, and in Jita, Zydrine is actually 1200 ISK. That's quite impressive. That's a quarter of the price more for the sellers. Buyers, again, that same morning, we don't have that many buyers, but buyers are at 1262. That's higher than the sellers in Jita 4.4 at the moment. So this is definitely very interesting. Some entrepreneurial traders that are willing to move stuff, and especially if you, for instance, find a wormhole that easily connects Jita with Rens, move a little bit of Zydrine and you could be looking at a very juicy trade. Let's see what Mexilon is doing here. Also completely different, with a much better price here in Rens, spiked up to 1250. We have been nowhere close to that in the Jita market, and at the moment in Jita, Megasite is selling for 640. Here it's selling for almost 900 ISK. Whoa, these null-sick minerals are definitely selling a lot better now. Again, volume-wise, it's not that great, but there's value in that difference, and the best ISK is actually right here in Rens. Finally, I'll take a quick look at Morphite as well. That's actually at 30,000 ISK, 33,000 for the sellers, and in Jita it's around 32,000. That feels like it's again decently close to one another, with an edge for Rens for the better prices. It's gonna be harder to sell, we're gonna need more patience, but there's definitely some of them that are selling at much better prices. And again, all over the place we are seeing these volume spikes in all of these minerals here that to me indicate that sometimes bigger players come in here as well, buy a lot of stuff, and that could be a very nice opportunity. So I also did take a look at the advanced movement tiers, at least the ones that are tied to production of Tech 2 stuff for the specific empires. So we're gonna go over these as well, do a bit of a comparison. Very interesting right here. Crystalline Carbonite, I'm gonna call that tier 1 Galente. I wrote that down, selling for 146 ISK in Jita, 283 in Rens. That is double the price. That's kind of crazy. After that we have Galente 0.2 going for 30,000 ISK in Jita, 11,000 ISK for the photonic meta materials. Let's take a quick look at the Caldari production stuff. Caldari, so not the meta materials first, but titanium carbide, 232 versus 140, again a very nice premium. And then Caldari going for 31,000 ISK compared to 18,000 ISK in Jita. So I think this will be confirmed. Let's take a quick look at Amar here as well then. Amar for carbide, 251 for 150 in Jita. And then for the metamaterials, yeah, 22,000, one seller. Look at how much smaller the market is here, but 13,600 in Jita, still a massive premium. And then finally we have for Minmatar the local production, that could be different. So 21,500, no availability pretty much, 13,800 in Jita. And then for the raw materials, I switched those up, but 200 ISK for a 120 in Jita. That is, to me, that is very, very interesting. It does mean that this market is a lot smaller. So again, selling here is going to require a little bit more patience for really big players, right? That have big wallets, that want to do the billions of ISK in every single trade. This is probably not going to be the place for you. But I would say for newer players, for smaller players that can sometimes bring in smaller volumes and have that patience to try and sell at a better price, this is very, very interesting. Even some trade trips looking at these numbers between Jita and Rens could actually be worth it as well. We'll take a quick look at its location. I should have assets in everything else as well. So Rens is actually 14 jumps away from Dodixie, which is the Galente trade hub. It is 25 jumps away from Jita, so that's far away, but it's somewhat doable. And then Amar is 20 jumps away, so that's basically a little bit like a halfway point between Amar and Jita. You could look at it like that. And then finally, Heck. Do I have stuff in Heck? Not really seeing it here in this list. I'm kind of curious. I think Heck should be very close. Let's take a look at that. Solar system. Kind of curious. Set destination. And Heck is only 6 jumps away. So this is also a very unique situation where you basically have 2 stations in Minmatar space that are vying for dominance, that are trying to become a trade hub in and of their own right. Now, because there's 2 of them this close together, they're basically sabotaging themselves when it comes to volumes. But it's pretty obvious to me that there is opportunity in all of that as well. And yeah, I kind of want to confirm that. So far, my exploration of Minmatar space itself by flying around in this Orcad and doing exploration in the Gila here is that it is not an empty space. It's not a wasteland at all. I'm seeing a decent amount of activity in pretty much every single system that I come across. There's definitely some competitiveness here as well. I mean, you may have seen that on the live stream, someone coming in trying to bait me into attacking them, trying to steal my loot and things like that. But it's still definitely active and alive. And yeah, for smaller players, right? If you don't mine just massive amounts of ISK every single day, I think it could be interesting to try and sell your minerals here at a better price than the big trade hubs of Jita and Amar. All of them, I would say, have a premium, some pretty high, up to like a quarter of the price. Some are a lot smaller as well, of course, and it's gonna take a little bit more time to actually unload all your stuff, but I think there is a lot of potential here as well. So to me, this is very interesting. I should perhaps mention that as well. Let's take a quick look at my market orders here. For instance, this domination, no, oh, is it already gone? No, C-time multispectrum shield hardener, right? I'm finding these locally. They were valued at like 230. You can see I'm being pretty aggressive. I want the ISK so I can invest in ships and try to do different stuff in this new playstyle. But the locally found stuff, for instance, in a Mars space, Sancha stuff, Sancha faction stuff, really was selling at a much lower price. Bringing it to Jita was where you would get something close to, probably quite often a little bit below the average price as well. Here in Rens, you know, I could have tried to sell that for the average price and I would still have the best sell order here. Now I'm being extra aggressive because I want to move stuff, but that is also something that's very, very unique. The stuff that I'm finding so far here while doing my exploration is actually selling for that reasonable price. In these stations in the local trade hub as well, which is quite a unique situation. In a Mars space, for instance, you're definitely losing ISK if you're selling locally what you're finding exploration there. So yeah, kind of curious. Definitely a unique situation here in Minmatar space, but I'm already very happy with the choice that I've made because it's very interesting, full of opportunity, and I kind of look forward to doing more here. But selling in Rens so far, I think it's got its potential, and definitely something that I'm planning to do a little bit more of as well. Perhaps we'll take a look at Heck, try and see how those two communicate or what happens there. But for now, that's going to be it for this video, a look at the trade hub in Rens. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. And we'll take a quick look on the outside as well.